We got some entitled parents. First up, excuse me, your kid touched my ass. I have so many things going through my head right now. I, 16, went out yesterday with my boyfriend, his mom, and a few other family members to this tourist spot in my town. A very underfunded tourist spot that it's obvious only the locals go there. There's a small train there, mostly for kids, that my boyfriend's mom got us tickets for. A little train ride? That sounds so cute. We were first in line waiting for the train to come back when out of nowhere, I felt a small hand grasp my right butt cheek. I look over to see this little kid with his hand still full of ass let go and walk towards his mother. A bit uncomfortable, I told his mother, because you'd usually expect a parent to know if their little kid touched a random stranger. Me, excuse me. The kid's mom looks at me. Your kid touched my ass. Entitled parent says, excuse me? He's 4. Yeah, he still touched my ass though. I'm visibly uncomfortable at this point. I honestly wasn't expecting a response like that. I had no idea what to say. I expected this to be a quick, oh, I'm so sorry type of thing. Entitled parent then says, yeah, and he's 4. He's just a child. My boyfriend chimes in at the same time as me, where both of us repeat like 3 times, we get it, he's 4, while she's still going on about how he's just a kid. This woman tells who we can assume is her husband. I stopped paying attention after that because I felt so bad that maybe I made the wrong decision. My boyfriend later told me her husband tried bumping into him on purpose and staring at him trying to fight. I wish this story had a conclusion, but alas, this is the end. It's a small experience, but still an entitled parent experience nonetheless. Listen, ma'am, I get he's 4.
You said that already.
The kid probably doesn't understand fully, but what a great teaching moment that would have been. Next up, mom still complains we named my daughter after mother-in-law 1.5 years later. My mother-in-law is deceased. Mine too. Technically not in-law. My husband, the youngest of 5, was very close with his mother. Unfortunately, he's the only one whose children never got to meet her, as she passed away suddenly in his 20s before having kids. When I was pregnant with my daughter 2 years ago, he said he was excited but sad that she would never be able to meet his mom. I suggested we name our daughter after mother-in-law in some way. I liked mother-in-law's middle name and suggested that we incorporate it. We decided to use it as our daughter's middle name. Our friends, my family's husband, and my extended family all thought it was a sweet gesture. But my mother was furious. Every conversation she would rant about how unfair it was, how I slighted her, how I was favoring my mother-in-law over her, even though I never met mother-in-law. I hadn't learned to set healthy boundaries at this point, so I tried to offer a compromise. We were still in search of a first name, so we told her to send suggestions. She sent us a list and the names were not good, like Priscilla and Blossom, and a bunch of names that flowed horribly with my husband's surname. When I told her we wouldn't be using any of those suggestions, she lost it, saying that we were disrespectful, my husband was making the baby all about him, we were ruining the experience of her first grandchild. Y'all, wait a second. Moms, dads out there, are we sending a list to our mother to help us choose our child's name? What? You already got to do this. You had kids and you picked my name. Now it's my turn. This is wild to me. She also said my husband had his pick twice because we were giving the baby mother-in-law's middle name and my husband's last name. Okay? I was still in a doormat phase, so I sent her the list of first names we liked and encouraged her to pick one. She refused, saying none of them were as good as her picks and none were good enough for her granddaughter. In the end, my husband and I chose a first name from our list along with mother-in-law's middle name. After that, every single conversation with my mother circled back to my daughter's name. She said she was willing to compromise with us and sent us names similar to the one we chose, but prettier. Every time I shut her down, she would pitch a fit that I was naming my daughter after one grandmother and not the other. I was hormonal and pregnant, and I told her it was ridiculous for her to be so jealous of a dead woman that if she kept it up, she wouldn't be seeing my daughter. To this day, she still makes snide comments about it behind my back, according to my dad. We're in low contact with my family now, and I've learned to set firm boundaries, which has brought a lot of peace. I thought of this story because we brought my daughter to mother-in-law's grave recently. My heart. Oh my God, it's gonna hit me. We're not letting it hit me. We're not letting it hit me because we all know why. Matt's mother. It still annoys me, but there's enough space where I can at least laugh about it now. Hopefully you can laugh about it too. Well, I'm not laughing, it's insane. I can't even see that perspective where a parent would be so entitled that they think they have any say in what their child names their child. Next up, my mom hoards food from the food bank and lies about her household size. Is that legal? I, 23 female, don't know who to talk to about this other than a therapist, but maybe someone else has gone through a similar situation. My mom, 45 female, for 3 years now, has been going to 3 different food banks in 3 different cities to get food. There are only 2 people in the household, her and I, but she claims 8? Okay, quite a jump there. Claiming my cousins, her and I. She does not and has not in the past given any food to our cousins. On a weekly basis, I can expect to see 4 to 5 bags of cereal, a plastic bag full of oatmeal, which is 40 to 50 packets, 6 bags of milk, 10 packs of pasta, 2 cartons of eggs, 10 to 15 cans of soup and beans, a bunch of produce, snacks, like you get granola bars and sweets if you declare that you have children, and then 2 to 3 packs of ground chicken, and maybe a couple other things I'm missing but forget at the moment. That was a mouthful, literally. I am really upset because 1, I don't like that she's lying. And 2, she's a hoarder, and we now have a deep freezer to rotate the food she gets, but it usually all goes bad by the time she gets it, for both the fridge and freezers. Number 3, I have an eating disorder and we don't have the same taste in foods anymore, so there's never room in the fridge or freezer to put the food that I prepped/bought. Oh, I'm sorry you struggle. Whenever I bring this up to her, she lashes out and says it is my house. We live in a shared apartment together and I pay rent. Obviously, the solution is to move out, but I can't do that at the moment. My last straw is that in a month, she wants me to start going to the food bank as well to collect food because she needs to go for a different cousin, and I really don't want to until it gets to a financial point to where we actually need it. Is it valid to feel this way? Also, is she doing anything illegal or is it just unethical? Thanks for reading. That's what I want to know. Edit. She also pays rent. Sorry I didn't make it clear enough. Update. I called one city and they were able to let me report it anonymously and will follow up in 3 weeks. The other 2 cities did not type up a written report but took her name down and said the next time she comes, she will have to show ID for all household members. I think you have every way to feel that way, especially a food bank is for people who are struggling and really need it. And obviously, if you're not getting through the food and there's too much it's going to waste, the food that's going to waste could be out there helping people who really need it. So I totally understand feeling that way. Parent opened fraudulent credit card in my name years ago. Help! My neighbors might be thinking I'm yelling. I don't need help. Around late March, I unfreeze my credit card with Experian in anticipation of a job offer and upcoming background check. While reviewing my report, I discovered a line of credit from Navy Federal Credit Union, NFCU, that I didn't recognize. I initially assumed it was a reporting error, so I disputed it through Experian and contacted NFCU. That's when I found out there was an active credit card under my name with a very large outstanding balance. Mortified. A bank representative helped me close the account and sent me a forgery affidavit. As I worked with NFCU's fraud department to understand how this happened, I discovered that my mother used our joint campus checking account to apply for a flagship credit card in my name without my knowledge or consent. She did this by logging in under my profile and completing the application. Okay, so you and your mom are going to court. After opening the card, she added herself as an authorized user, had a card delivered to her, and used NFCU's Conceal Suppress feature to hide the account from public view and stop any mail from being sent to our home. Girl had this all mapped out. She changed the primary email to hers, meaning I never received a single notification. 2 cards were issued, one in my name, which she used for online purchases, and one for her, which was used in store. The account was opened on May 8th, 2023, and I had no knowledge of its existence. I was aware of the joint checking account, but completely unaware that she had opened a credit card using my name. For my first fraud claim, I submitted a signed forgery affidavit, a FTC identity theft report, my App Store log showing I never downloaded the NFCU app until after the discovery, screenshots showing I never received any emails about the account, and a written letter explaining the situation. During this time, a fraud department rep helped me close the joint account, set up a new personal account with login credentials, and placed a fraud alert on my name. I never even had access to NFCU before that moment. Despite all this, my fraud claim was denied. What? And classified as a domestic matter. I appealed the decision, and though I hadn't wanted to take it too far, I filed a police report against my mother. They gave me a 3 to 4 page offense report confirming my claim of identity fraud. I submitted the sheriff's offense report to NFCU for the appeal. Meanwhile, I became concerned that the fraud investigators weren't thoroughly reviewing my documents. Over the weekend, I filed a CFPB complaint asking NFCU to take my claim seriously and fully review the evidence. The very next day after I sent that CFPB complaint, my appeal was denied again, citing it as a domestic matter, before the police report even had time to fully process. I called and spoke to a fraud department supervisor, not an investigator, and she told me unless I had new evidence, I may have to pursue this civilly, and although the appeal was denied, the CFPB complaint is still active. But I'm currently between jobs and can't afford legal fees. Okay, but you can't afford the credit card payments either that are in your name. I've been fully cooperative and transparent from the start, and this entire experience has been incredibly stressful and unfair. My identity was used behind my back, and I took all the necessary steps once I found out. Also, since I had our joint checking separated, I am for the first time able to view the credit card account, and there's already a payment past due, which I have no clue how it's going to get paid. I'm in between jobs after graduating and my internship ended. And unsurprisingly, my mother can't pay it either since she was let go of her 4th job in a row. Background information. A few years prior to this, my mother filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which severely limited her credit options. And as soon as I became 18, it seemed like she was using my credit profile as a scapegoat for things she couldn't do with her own credit. I was also a full-time student while this credit card was active and didn't have the means to pay for any credit card, much less this one. It's unfortunate that I don't know much about your relationship with your mother. If you went to her and said, hey, caught ya, you have to pay that back some way, somehow, would she like give you the money? I mean, that's a dumb question because obviously friggin' not. Oh, I don't know. I can't offer advice on this. This is legal advice. I'm stressed for them, so you know what time it is. Hydration station. I should really write a jingle or something. That would be so annoying, probably. Cheers. Wow, I'm really going with wow, whoa. Cherries, not planned. Cherry earrings, red sweater, strawberry. I got a lot of red going on. I didn't even plan that. Next up, ex-stepmom feels entitled to a relationship with me after 6 years of no contact and ruining my childhood after she got in trouble with a preacher for lying. That just felt like a movie synopsis. I, 24 female, am a child of divorce. My biological parents split when I was 4 years old. My mother started dating again when I was 7. A wonderful man, and I love him to death, but an absolute idiot of a father dated several women between the time that I was 4 to 8. Half of that time, he was in and out of my life. But that is not what this is about. This is about his last girlfriend / his wife prior to his death. Oh. No, there's too many passings in today's video. I'm so sorry, guys. My stepmother, whom I unaffectionately call my ex-step B-word, SB for short, walked into my life after she met my dad while she was in a women's rehab group in my hometown where my dad and his Christian rock band played. Very Bible Belt area of the southern US. I always had an issue with the women / girls that walked into my life because of bullying due to my absolute insane name that this man gave me, as well as his first girlfriend after leaving my mother abusing me and my little sister when we were very young. What's your crazy name? Not to mention that the reason he and my mother divorced was because he was constantly on illegal substances, so I was very aware of what her rehab group was, for which made my skepticism even worse. She showed up one day when I was 8.5. I remember because it was summer and my birthday was in January. It was my dad's week. There was 50-50 custody, and dad was going to take me and my sister to our uncle's house to go swimming, but we were waiting for SB. It was that day that dad told me and my, at the time, 7-year-old sister that they were dating and had been for 3 months without saying anything to us. For minor context, my dad screamed at my mom for not telling him that she was dating someone, so there were issues in that for me. I distinctly remember looking at my dad, then at SB, then back at my dad, and then her again.
Look at your man. Now back to me. Now back at your man. Now back to me.
Until I pointed at her and told my dad, she's going to do something bad. This was the beginning of our dynamic. Fast forward to not only my dad getting married to this woman, but me being used by her as a test subject for her psychology degree. She never finished this, by the way. I was 11 at this time and playing in my bedroom with my sister and cousin, waiting for lunch after church on Super Bowl Sunday of 2012. My sister and cousin were on the computer that was in my room because we didn't have enough TVs. They were playing Movie Star Planet, which was all the rage at the time, and we were using the camera feature. When the flash went off, I started to feel funny, to say the least. So much so that I started seeing red dots everywhere. I told the two of them, and my cousin made a joke that I was about to have a seizure. And to my surprise, he was right. Oh my gosh. Now this next part I don't have much memory of, other than stories from my sister, cousin, and dad telling me after I came to. Apparently the two of them ran downstairs to get a drink, leaving me on the bed until my dad came upstairs to get me for lunch. Okay, well they're definitely not the emergency contact. Apparently I was having a full grand mal seizure out of nowhere, and my dad did everything he could think of to keep me from hurting myself while calling 911. I remember waking up a little in the ambulance and my dad telling me I was okay and I should just go back to sleep, which I did. Next I knew I heard noises, one of those being "Touchdown Patriots!" and my dad cheering. First thing I said after waking up was asking if he was watching the Super Bowl without me. That is when the room exploded. It was the first time since I was very young that my mom and dad were in the same room and not screaming at each other. Not the last, but that's a different story. I remember looking around after my eyes adjusted to see it was a white room, a hospital room, still in my church dress that I was going to change out of after lunch and before the game. My mom and dad called the doctor back in to check on me, and I was scheduled for so many different appointments after that, including a sudden re-entry to the hospital because we found out I was allergic to the seizure meds that they gave me while I was unconscious. This part was told to me years later by my mother when I was about 17. Apparently while I passed out and was getting tests done, SB, instead of checking on me, called our pastor to pray over me. He was a good man, but I now have nothing to do with the Christian faith because of SB and my dad. But because it was a smaller hospital and involved a child, it was only the direct family allowed inside the room with me. SB told the hospital staff that she was my biological mother. We look nothing alike, and she was 28 while I was 11. When my real mom showed up, the pastor who was outside the room told her it was family only. And when she told him that she was my mother, thankfully, one of the new nurses that showed up was a friend of my mom's. She was let in and SB was kicked out. From what I'm told, SB got yelled at by our pastor for lying to him about my mother not having anything to do with me or my sister, when in fact she was very involved in our lives. Hell, I was supposed to go to her house that day after she got off work, which was conveniently right after the Super Bowl. Anyways, after I was released from the hospital and my mom took me home to her house, things were okay. I was off school for a week because the seizure came out of nowhere and my primary wanted to have me call in every other day for checkups just in case. Things changed, however, when I went back to my dad's. I had gotten off school after my first day back, and while I'm doing my chores, which was washing dishes that day, SB came into the kitchen while my dad was in their bedroom playing World of Warcraft and told me it was all my fault that the church is mad at her. And she hated me for it. Again, I'm 11 and this 28-year-old woman is blaming me for getting her in trouble with a man that she lied to. Not to mention that she and my dad would tell me anytime I was sick after the seizure that it was all in my head. Or, you're overreacting, your pain can't be hospital level. Okay, you try it then. My dad was a Navy veteran, so he always used that line whenever I was hurting, not realizing that medication I had been taking for years made my pain tolerance severely low. Ironically though, they were sort of right, explained further down. Since that day, we absolutely despised each other to a point that no matter what I did, I was getting Bible thumped. Even going so far as to make me late for an assignment for my freshman English class in high school because I made the mistake of claiming Greek mythology made more sense to me than the Bible. This still holds true to this day. I'm a practicing I'm going to say that wrong. I ain't even going to try it. It'll be on the screen. You guys can try it. I don't have the energy. She even got so insecure about my blatant hatred of her that she asked me to show her my messages between me and my counselor that I was assigned because of dual, suicide attempts. No, please. I'll cry. I swear to God, I'll cry. No one is allowed here. Ever. We're all friends. If I read your story and you never see this video, I still feel an attachment to you. I was 14 at the time, and even I, someone who at the time was studying forensic science and had an unhealthy obsession with criminal minds and law of order, knew that it was illegal as hell and told my counselor about it at our next session. That nonsense got shut down very fast. Thankfully, she's been mostly cut out of my life since I was 17, when my father passed, oh my gosh, no! Of a shrug, that is the code word on YouTube, overdose, withdrawal-induced heart attack. She and my father had apparently been on substances again, big shocker, and I personally told you so on my part, and subjecting me and my sister to the fumes, which made me violently ill. For several months, and we didn't know why until he passed. The last time I saw her was 6 months after he passed when I turned 18, and I got the one thing my dad wanted, which was a 12-string electric guitar. We are a big music family. However, that wasn't the last time she tried to make contact with me. Recently, while I was in college, already stressed out because of more health issues that stemmed from the seizure incident coming up, and then the sudden passing of one of my dad's 4 sons, SB started to spam my Facebook Messenger asking how I was doing, if school was going good, all this kind of stuff, only to yell at me for coming out as a, I don't want to say this wrong, demi girl, which is semi-non-binary that leads towards the feminine side. I was using they, them at the time, and she called me an abomination, which was strange because I didn't tell her or anyone else about this outside my college friends, who were on the other side of the country from where she was back in my home state. Apparently, one of my brothers who was still in contact with her for some reason told her about me asking to be called sibling on our brother's obituary, thinking I still talked to this woman like my sister did occasionally. He was fully aware I hated her with a burning passion, but not exactly why. I'm not close with any of my brothers for various reasons, but that's besides the point. SB was tormenting me over the phone while I was studying for finals before returning home to get medical tests done. Come to find out, I have epilepsy, autism, and a vein malformation in my brain. Oh my gosh. That nobody cared to check after my seizure because the neurologist I saw in my home state at the time was an idiot and claimed I had the seizure due to low blood pressure, which come to find out is a massive side effect of epilepsy and the malformation. I do have a blood sugar issue, and when I seize, it gets dangerously low due to the plethora of other issues and hormone and chemical wise in my messed up body. I am so sorry that you have to go through all this. I now have to go to the capital of my home state after dropping out of college because of insurance issues and have a consultation with a neurosurgeon to see if they're going to put me through radiation or just cut the malformation out of my brain. I went to Facebook in order to warn anyone on either side of the family since my epilepsy was genetic, and I'm still the first to have it on either side, as well as update my cousins who I still have contact with in that part of the state if they wanted to visit. SB effing commented saying I should go see her instead. I nearly screamed. I was so mad that she was still acting all lovey-dovey to me, but thankfully my boyfriend was able to calm me down enough not to do anything stupid and commented herself that if any of my family wanted to stay in contact with me, they will keep SB away from any information on my location and life. So far, only my uncle, my dad's last living sibling, and his sons are the only ones who still keep regular contact with me or my sister from my dad's side. I have little contact with my mom's family my entire life other than one of my two brothers on her side. I have my fingers crossed that this situation gets better before I lose my whole mind, but I have a feeling she won't come anywhere near me or our hometown because of how many bridges she has burnt here by hurting me and my sister. We're a small town, lots of motorcycle bikers who happen to be family to us. We do have an edit on this post. Number 1, SB is blocked and my family that are in contact with her are not in the loop on me in general because of distancing me and my sister from the family after my sperm donor passed. My uncle is checking in with me regularly since he's a friend with my boyfriend's neighbor, so we see each other a lot more than we did just after my father passed. He's been the one fielding questions for me, as well as his younger son, who I've been close with since I was a baby. Number 2, thankfully I have an approximate timeline for my surgery, which is not until maybe August. By that time, I should be moving in with my boyfriend and his parents being just down the road, and will have retired by then. I'll have someone who can keep an eye on me while he's at work. Thank goodness. All in all, things are getting better and I'm grateful. I'm super excited for later in March. It's getting warmer here in Arkansas, where I'm from. So it's perfect motorcycle weather, and I got to go on my first bike ride of the year the other day with the boyfriend, and it was magical. Fun fact, I once, actually more than once, went on the back of a motorcycle. It was fun. Scary, but fun. And now that I got older, I was like, ooh, I won't be doing that again. I like life. I like living. Let me know your thoughts on these stories, you guys. And if you've ever had a story of your own entitled Appearance, you can share it in the comments or submit it through my form, whatever you want, honestly. See you in the comment section. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. Bye.